This article shows a picture of the Metropolitan Cathedral in Hope Street, and the article is headed Hole Street. Work on a city sewer that has created a massive hole on a city centre street could shut the road for up to 4 weeks. The massive hole has been created outside the Casa Bar on Hope Street in the heart of Liverpool yesterday afternoon. Liverpool City Council tweeted to say the hole was a result of an emergency sewer collapse, but United Utilities have said it was actually planned roadworks. The council tweeted, "Please be advised that due to an emergency sewer collapse on Hope Street by Maryland Street, United Utilities have closed this section to Hardman Street and updates will follow." But the utility company said they noticed issues with the sewer all the way back to September 2018. A spokesperson for United Utilities said, "Today we have begun planning repairs to a sewer running along Hope Street in Liverpool city centre. Our contractors have dug a hole in the road to access the sewer. Local stakeholders were contacted about our plans back in September." The City Council have now clarified to the Echo that they actually meant the work as being carried out under an emergency order and there was no sewer collapse. The order gives United Utilities the ability to keep the road closed for at least 2 weeks, but it could be shut for up to 4. Workers have already excavated some of the damaged area, leaving a massive mound of dirt and a gaping hole in the road. The area has been fenced off and Hope Street is closed to traffic up to the junction with Hardman Street.
Yes, good news here for a change. And it starts off a couple who scooped a £115 million Euro Millions jackpot on New Year's Day have described how they plan to share their good fortune with loved ones. Francis and Patrick Connolly from Moira in Northern Ireland have begun drawing up a list of family and friends which currently stands at 50, none of whom have been told of their imminent good fortune. Mrs. Connolly, aged 52, said this is a massive sum of money and we want to have a huge impact on the lives of other people we know and love, as well as on our own future too. Mr. Connolly, aged 54, said the win felt unreal. The couple said they only sat in silence after they had realised they had won. Mrs. Connolly said, "We don't really do excited. Perhaps I raised my voice just a bit at the time when I found out, but we celebrated with a cup of tea and a hug." The couple, who have been together for 30 years and have 3 grown-up children, are still deciding how to treat themselves. The pair live in a rented home and were considering a move to Croydon in Surrey in March, as Mr. Connolly had been offered a new job as an operations manager. But since finding about the win, he has decided to retire for now. And I only hope my name is on that list.
A bit less jolly now. A cowboy builder who took around £70,000 from 4 families but failed to do the work he promised caused misery and heartache, a court heard. Father of 3, Duncan Walker, personally assured the families that his company would complete work to their homes and took around £70,000 from them. But Walker's firm, Total Care Building Contracts, went into liquidation before the work was completed, causing stress and upset to his customers. Walker declined to attend meetings with his customers when they became worried about his failure to do the work, and instead sent a man called Eddie to represent him. He also failed to respond to letters and phone calls. But Walker continued to accept payments from his customers up until Total Care Building Contracts went into liquidation. Walker, aged 44, of Wood Green in Bidston Village, had already pleaded guilty to 4 counts of being engaged in a commercial practice contrary to Regulation 3.3 of the Consumer Protection from Unfair Trading Regulations 2008. Walker admitted the misconduct in his capacity as a director of Total Care Building Contractors Limited. All the offences took place between March 2016 and the end of August 2016. Walker attended a hearing at Liverpool Crown Court yesterday. A man who was diagnosed with cancer at the time he was dealing with Walker, Mr Davis of Spittal Wirral, said that Walker's failure to deliver on the promises he made increased his anxiety and described the experience as an absolute nightmare. A Wirral mum, who was on maternity leave at the time Walker agreed to do work on her home, said the builder ruined what should have been an emotional milestone in her life. Mrs Forsyth said that she'd trusted Walker and he'd abused that trust. She said, "He left us heartbroken." Another man was forced to move out of his Prenton home and be separated from his young family because of Walker's failure to do the work he promised. Mr Shane said he was a proud man and was forced to borrow cash from relatives to sort out the mess left by Walker. And Prenton woman Charlotte Upton paid thousands of pounds to Walker to make modifications to her home so an elderly relative could come and stay. In the end, she told his company to leave the site after paying out £14,000 to them. Judge Trevor Jones said 4 families entered into contracts and they were promises made by you. They paid you around £70,000 and then your company went into liquidation. Although there was no fraud or dishonesty, this was sharp practice on a reckless basis. You misinformed your customers about your ability to do the work. You caused harm to your victims. Judge Jones jailed Walker for 10 months, suspended for 18 months. He was ordered to do 200 hours of community work and pay back a total of £7,500 to the 4 customers. He was also disqualified as a company director for 6 years.
From Tuesday's Echo refers to the visit of the Prime Minister to Liverpool on Monday of this week. Protesters waited outside Alderhayes Children's Hospital yesterday to greet the Prime Minister, Theresa May, as she swooped into the city to announce the latest NHS funding plan. Despite the short notice of the visit, people from the city gathered to make their feelings clear, with chants of Tory scum meeting the Jaguar when she was being driven around. Those who were there spent around 40 minutes waiting for Mrs May, who travelled to the world-famous Children's Hospital to launch the NHS long-term plan, which promises around £20 billion by the year 2033. John Morgan, a member of the Unite Merseyside, said she had the audacity to come to a children's hospital to launch the plan. The secrecy and short notice was quite deliberate. The visit was badly publicised and she isn't fooling anyone. The visit became public at around 4 p.m. on Sunday afternoon. Secretary of Liverpool's Walton Labour constituency, Alan Gibbons, said, "We have been here for 45 minutes and have kept it quite respectful. She has the rank hypocrisy to choose a city which has suffered with Tory cuts to come and proactively launch the plan. It's been 9 long years of battling for the NHS. At 1 day's notice for people to turn out, this is fantastic. Most will have only got an email last night. It shows what a special place the NHS is for Liverpool." Labour councillor Kevin McGlashan said, "I personally think the turnout is excellent, as you have to consider the time they were told. People only found out about it about 7 p.m. yesterday, and I think this has been effective enough." Inside the hospital, Mrs May has hailed the launch of the 10-year plan as a truly historic moment for health service. Health chiefs say that up to 500,000 lives could be saved under the plan, which involves greater use of high-tech treatments and diagnostic testing, and could prevent 150,000 heart attacks and strokes and dementia cases. Labour insists the plan would not be enough. The Tories have spent 9 years running down the NHS, and now they are asking for another 10 years to sort out their mess, said party leader Jeremy Corbyn. Paula Carlyle from Knowsley's Unison agreed, "I think the plan is full of empty promises. They cut the funding, and then when it has reached rock bottom, they do something about it.
Question, can you think of a name for a property chief's new party boat? At the end of last year, the Liverpool hotel firm and its boss Lawrence Kenwright revealed a remarkable plan to launch a 600-bed party boat hotel on the Mersey that will take fun-loving Scousers to the sunny resorts like Ibiza and Marbella for parties and raves with world-famous DJs. Mr. Kenwright has purchased the £4 million vessel, and now, ahead of a planned maiden voyage in the summer, he wants people to come up with a name for it, with an impressive prize on offer for the best suggestion. Whoever names the huge boat will be handed 4 tickets for a fortnight stay on the boat when it docks in Marbella, and will return flights from Liverpool included. Mr. Kenwright said Liverpool has a rich maritime history spanning centuries, and people across the city played a huge part in that. Indeed, the Cunard and White Star Line ships helped cement our position as the second city of the British Empire. With our new cruise liner, we are launching what will be Signature Living's first venture at sea. Our ambition is to help drive Liverpool's maritime renaissance by giving our young people the opportunity of securing employment on the ship so they can go and work across Europe. Well, I think I've come up with the ideal name, the Booze Cruise, but I don't want anything to do with the first prize. Thank you.
More stations are to be shut for a platform rejig. Computers and shoppers using the Merseyrail network around South Liverpool will be the next to be disrupted as the huge programme of platform upgrades continues. The 5th phase of the Mersey travel works, which are being carried out to prepare stations for new trains next year, will start on the Northern Line from January the 19th. It will mean that for over a week, people travelling into the city centre from Hunts Cross and all stations in between will need to catch rail replacement buses. Mersey Travel's head of rail, Wayne Menzies, said disruption to journeys would be worth it in the end for passengers. We've got to complete these works, he said. He added, it's really important that passengers know what's happening so they can plan ahead. And if we work together, we can keep everyone moving and the city region will remain open for business. The new trains will transform how we travel, and this project is about making this happen, so although there will be some disruption, it will be worth it in the end. There will be rail replacement buses between Moorfields and Hunts Cross on Saturday, January 19th, and from Monday, January the 21st, until Saturday, January the 26th. This will see buses run between Hunts Cross and Moorfields, which will not stop at Liverpool Central. Passengers are asked to change at Moorfields Station for services on other lines. Also, passengers wanting to travel to Liverpool Central can change at Moorfields onto any Wirral Line service, which all call at Liverpool Central. Rail replacement buses will run between Sandhills and Hunts Cross on Sunday, January the 20th and Sunday, January the 27th. Further engineering works will take place on Sunday, January the 20th and Sunday, January the 27th, when trains will not run on the Hunts Cross line. Merseyrail also said that due to the works, there will be timetable changes to the Southport and Ormskirk line services during that period. For those travelling from Southport to Liverpool, trains will depart 7 minutes earlier from all stations.
It's prefaced with 2 pictures of the giants that were in Merseyside at the end of last year. Headed, a radical new funding plan needed for more city spectaculars. Liverpool could get more events like the giants, but only if the city adopts radical new ways to pay for them. That's according to the city's Liberal Democrats, who are pushing to try and speed up plans for the city to adopt a hotel tax. the party has put a motion forward to the next full council meeting to call on the government to let Liverpool put a levy in place on hotel rooms. The tax is used in cities across the world, but there is no law allowing UK cities to put them in place. It has already been mooted in council departments as a longer-term option for the city. The Lib Dem culture spokeswoman, Councillor Carol Storey, said government cuts are threatening Liverpool's position as a cultural hotspot. These events and activities have boosted our image, brought huge investment into our city and created thousands of jobs. Now, because of government cuts, all that is at risk. This council, like all others, is being cut beyond the bone. It will have money left only for statutory services, mainly for children and adults in need. Things like the Giants will not be possible because we cannot afford either the staff time to prepare and bid for them or the costs of running them, which in spite of sponsorship does leave the council with a bill. She said a tax of £2 a night on hotels, bed and breakfasts and Airbnbs would bring in a significant sum for the city. Liverpool's hotel sector had a massive year in 2018, with 1 million beds sold in the city's hotels earlier than ever. Cultural events played a big role in driving up those numbers, but the city's culture budget, like other departments, is under significant pressure due to government cuts. Documents last year revealed that Brexit could eliminate £2.9 million of the department's budget. The council has ruled out a sudden budget cut, saying doing so would cause irrevocable damage. Lib Dem motion on the hotel tax will still have to be approved before it can be debated at the full council meeting on the 16th of January next week.
Friday's edition, January the 4th, and of course it's from the Liverpool Echo. And it starts off, library fines are being scrapped in Halton in a radical trial aimed at boosting access to books. From Monday, readers will be able to borrow books from libraries across Runcorn and Widnes with no fear of penalties for late returns. Halton Borough Council said that library use in the area had already risen in recent years, and it is hoped that removing fines will increase it further. The trial will run for 12 months and could be made permanent if it proves a success. It follows similar schemes in other areas. Trafford in Greater Manchester became the first council area to embrace the policy in February last year. Since then, others, including Portsmouth, have followed suit. A Halton council spokesman said the initiative is part of the local authorities' goal to provide the opportunity for all to fulfil their potential. He said fines can be off-putting and that the library service wants to offer a welcoming service for all. The council said more than 50% of borrowers in Halton were classed as living in the top 20% most deprived areas nationally, and with 30% living in areas classed in the top 10%. At present, children do not pay fines in Halton, but this has been expanded to include all library users for the forthcoming year. Library users will still be expected to return overdue books before being able to take out any more. Councillor Phil Harris, Libraries, said this is a great move forward for our library service, and hopefully the former library users who haven't visited their library in a long time because of the fear of fines will make 2019 the year they will return. A small number of other council-run libraries have taken this move in the last 12 months and have reported no decrease in book returns and in fact an increase in general usage. We want to inspire a community of readers and offer a welcoming environment in our libraries. So this time
we've got a poem written by John Fowler, and it's called 1950s Milk Round. Dad woke me up at 6:30. I had to get up and go. no matter how the weather was, morning, sun, rain, sleet or snow. My routine was so precise it had to be smooth as silk, because every day before I went to school I had to deliver the milk. I was certainly no Ernie, but worked hard for my pound, in a world of my own, doing my milk round. I loaded 7 heavy crates, pulled my cart into the road. I knew every order in my head, never missed one abode. Saved my money every week to buy a Spanish guitar, but I never had the bottle to become a great big star. Didn't want to be a paper boy, I'd soon be blown away, in a world of my own on my Milky Way. The dairy was at the end of our street. Old Bill milked cows every day. Our kids said the smell was bad. The cows put up with him anyway. Awaiting their breakfast cereal, the houses depended on me. I was a knight in shining armour, bringing nectar for their tea. If my boyhood days were shuffled and made to deal again, I'd still do my milk round. It made me into a man. Yes, as a teenager in the 50s, every morning I could be found in a world of my own, doing my milk round.
This article is about the Universal Credit mix-up, headed, "They stopped my benefits and told me I was in jail." A single dad has had his Universal Credit stopped because the Department for Work and Pensions said he was in prison. Lee Carroll from Kirkdale said he contacted the DWP after he noticed his monthly payment had been suspended. But when the 36-year-old spoke to an advisor to resolve the issue, he was told he wouldn't be getting his Universal Credit payment because he was in prison in Birmingham. The single dad, who lives with his 10-year-old daughter, said he was left feeling like a criminal and even contacted police and Action Fraud over the false claims. Now the DWP has apologised and said the mistake was caused by an administrative error. Lee, who works in Novotel in Liverpool city centre, said, "I've never been in prison, on bail or wanted by police. I was made to feel like I had done something wrong, like I was a criminal. I even said to them, 'How can I be ringing you now on my mobile from prison when prisoners don't have mobiles?' And I put the phone up so they could hear noise in the background of traffic and music while I was walking through town." Lee said he went to the police for help, wrote to his MP and contacted Action Fraud. He said, "I told the DWP my employer had said she would send in a letter and told them to check my earnings. I said I could fax them over, but they just left me with no money." The Echo understands the error was caused because another man with the same name and same date of birth as Lee was on the system. Lee, who was due a £751 payment in January, said, "It's the worst thing that's ever happened to me in my whole life. I knew I was going to get the payment on a certain date, so you budget for that. All my last wage in December went on Christmas and council tax, and I don't have family I can turn to for help. I am one of those people that's going out to work to save money, and then they do this. I get up, I go to work, I take my daughter to school. It's just shocking what they've done." A spokeswoman for the Department for Work and Pensions said, "We have apologised to Mr Carroll for this administrative error and reinstated his benefit payments immediately."
The story is taken from the Liverpool Echo, the edition of last Saturday, January the 5th. And it starts off, "A deafening bang rang out on Penny Lane, making people think they had been an explosion after a car crashed into a shop. Staff at the Penny Lane wine bar became worried when they heard a bang like an explosion when a yellow Mini crashed through the wooden front of a neighbouring business yesterday morning. The crash sent wood and pieces of scaffolding flying, some of which landed on the wine bar, causing minor damage. Grace Woods, who owns the wine bar, told the Echo there was a loud bang like an explosion. I thought it was like a bomb, it was that bad. All the stuff fell off our way, but everything was okay. Emergency services rushed to the scene after reports of the crash at 10:25 a.m, but fortunately no one was injured when the car smashed into the pavement. Pictures show the yellow Mini on the pavement with its bonnet popped open and debris from where the car ploughed through the wooden fronts of the soon-to-be-opened new cafe. The cafe, which is still being renovated, was largely protected by the wooden frame surrounding the front of the building. One of its owners told the Echo the cafe and the bistro was due to open soon and the crash would only be a minor setback. The building has been assessed and there was no structural issues. Merseyside Police confirmed there was no suggestion the driver had been drinking or had crashed deliberately. A spokesman for Merseyside Police said we were called at 10:25 a.m. to report a car had collided with the front of a building. It is next to a Penny Lane wine bar. The driver was taken into Penny Lane wine bar while emergency services arrived. There are no reports anyone was injured and there has been no structural damage. There is no suggestion this was a deliberate act or any drink driving issue. The cause of the crash is unknown at this stage. Work is also being done to fix damage caused to the timber frame in the front.
This is a pat on the back for Liverpool John Lennon Airport from Wednesday's Echo, January the 9th. More than 5 million passengers travelling through Liverpool John Lennon Airport last year, the highest number for 7 years. And in a double celebration for the airport, it was named as having the UK's best scheduled flight punctuality record. Latest figures show 5.1 million people chose to use LJLA in 2018, the highest figures seen at the airport in 7 years, and an increase of 3% compared to 2017. The airport saw growth in passenger numbers and services throughout last year, with a number of new routes having started in 2018, including Bergen, Dalaman, Ayassi, Palermo, Paphos, Pula, Shannon and Toulouse. LJLA now serves more than 70 destinations. And it seems LJLA has continued to be one of the UK's best performing airports operationally too. The Punctuality League, a report published by OAG, the world's leading air travel intelligence company, shows Liverpool had the UK's best on-time performance record in 2018, with more than 84% of arriving and departing flights operating within 15 minutes of their scheduled arrival and departure time. Liverpool has the 7th best record in the world when compared to airports of a similar size for scheduled flight on time performance. Whilst passenger numbers and choice of destinations continue to rise, the airport experience for passengers also remains one of the UK's best. Queue times through airport security remained low throughout 2018, with 97% of passengers taking 10 minutes or less, and more than 80% taking less than 5 minutes. This year is set to be another busy one, with new routes to Corfu, Copenhagen and Varna commencing in the summer. John Irving, CEO for Liverpool John Lennon Airport, said 2018 has been another very good year for the airport and for the region's air travellers too, with Liverpool now offering an even greater choice of destinations and a fantastic passenger experience. As an important gateway airport, Liverpool also benefits the city region, the North West and North Wales, with an excellent passenger experience and improved connectivity, helping to attract more inward investment and boosting the region's visitor economies.
Is about the television programme featuring Liverpool Royal Hospital. Millions of viewers will this week see how staff and patients have been struggling to cope in the crumbling Royal Liverpool University Hospital. The 4th series of BBC Two's hit documentary series Hospital, which was filmed in hospitals across the city between October and December, begins this Thursday. And in the first programme, we will see the overdue for demolition Royal dealing with a flood on its ground floor due to old pipes fracturing, the 10th such incident of 2018. The flood leads to patients having to wait outside in ambulances, while staff are seen struggling to transfer a female patient on the 5th floor to intensive care because half of the lifts were out of action. Meanwhile, the hospital's almost complete £335 million replacement stands unoccupied just yards away, following the collapse of construction company Carillion in January 2018. Aidan Kehoe, Chief Executive of the Royal Liverpool and Broad Green University Hospitals NHS Trust, said on the programme, "I'm very angry at the way Carillion have behaved. To leave us in this position, I think, is just unacceptable. And I do look at it and think these people were taking huge bonuses that they are not paying back and will leave the people of Liverpool waiting years more for a hospital." And while touring the new building, he said, "You get a sense of how complete it is, and that's why it's been really difficult, because we were coming round looking at a nearly complete building, and then all of a sudden everything came to a complete halt." Standing at a window, he said, "There's Anfield. That new stand was built by Carillion. They finished that scheme." Detailing what staff need to do to help maintain the new building equipment, Jane Holleran, Associate Director of Redevelopment, explained, "There are over 4,000 taps in the building, and there are between 14 and 18 full-time operatives going round the building at any one time, turning the water taps on and off, and it takes 6 days to complete for the whole building." Finally, Mr. Kehoe was able to announce that the Trust was terminating the existing private finance contract and would be receiving government funding to complete the new hospital, which is now due to open in 2020. He said, "I have felt under massive pressure to get it done, so getting that call was a fantastic moment." The series will chart the day-to-day life of 6 NHS trusts across Liverpool, which have a catchment area covering more than 2.5 million people.
Includes this week's reading of a selection of local news from the Liverpool Echo. We thank them for the permission to record their materials, the Royal Mail for deliveries, and fellow volunteers working for the LTN. When you have finished listening to USB stick, place it and the address card in the yellow postal wallet and return it to us. There is no postage to pay. Talking newspapers are covered by the Articles for the Blind free post concession. If you wish to contact us by phone, the office staff are only in the office on Thursday and Friday mornings from 9:30 a.m. until 11 a.m. Otherwise, please leave a message on the answer phone. Our telephone number is 0151 486 1400. Alternatively, you may email jude.porter9@guidemail.co.uk. As most of you prefer to putting messages in the wallets, you may continue to do so. On behalf of everyone at the LTN, goodbye. Okay.